Sisters who watch. Sisters who watch. Sisters who watch.
Love
Love
Island.
Island.
UK.
Islanders. Hey, y'all. Hey. Welcome back to Sisters Who Watch.
Hi, I'm Shelby or Ella.
And I'm Laura or Whitney. We're sisters who watch everything. TV, movies, sports, concerts, and even British Instagram models finding love on a tropical island.
Woo!
Mallorca, to be specific. We love to watch, and we love talking about it even more. Today we're watching
Love Island UK, the 10th season of the viral British dating show.
Islanders. I've got a text.
I've got a text.
I've got a text. Okay.
My accent is a little rough, but yours is by far the best, Laura.
Yeah, my accent is not
You've
great.
been practicing.
But you learn a British accent really well from watching Love Island because the show's all about just talking and conversations, and they have the wildest accents. So yes, my British accent's gotten a lot better since I started watching the show. And if you're watching us, Shelby and I look kind of insane, but
Who do I look like?
you look like Ella with
Ella?
your
Scottish?
Ella.
My headband, my hair.
The shades, the rectangular shades, the wavy hair.
Go.
Yeah, she's Ella.
That's right. I'm Ella.
We have on the shades. We have on the little headbands that they wear while they do their makeup. And Whitney always wears these headbands in the morning. So
we're giving. Like we just woke up
Love
after
Island
a long
realness.
night in the
They're
villa.
like in bed and they're like put their shades on immediately. It's so funny. Okay, people have been recommending Love Island to me for years. And then finally in college, I was like, okay, let me watch it. So I watched I started with the first season. I only watched maybe 5 episodes. And I was like, I don't like this. I moved to the Bay Area last year and I moved over the summer. So everyone was talking about Love Island. They're like,
Love Island season.
Yes. So everyone was talking about it. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna let me go back and rewatch a season. So I looked up best Love Island seasons and I landed on season 5. And that hands down was so good. So if you want to go rewatch a season, watch season 5. Very dramatic, very messy. But season 10 was chaos on chaos on chaos.
Chaos. For a little background on the show, it's a live dating show, and there are literally new episodes every single day.
Every day.
Which is crazy. And what's nice about it is literally the contestants are there all summer, and it's happening right now. Whereas The Bachelor, right? Bachelorette is airing right now. It was filmed months ago in the spring. It's dated, it's old. But what's so cool is like the contestants are literally there right now. And I love that part.
Right. Isn't that so cool? And things that the audience is doing and seeing impacts the show. The fans vote and interact with the actual Islanders. So each week, fans will vote on who their favorite boy is, who their favorite girl is, who their favorite couple is, least compatible couple. And based on those votes, people get sent home, which is very exciting. It's cool to know that what the fans think is actually impacting the show, right? And it also is interesting because we'll talk about this more. It influences how people act on the show. So you're like, is this real? Do they actually like each other? Is this a facade for them to be the most liked couple, right? And at the end, if you're voted as Britain's favorite couple, you split 50,000 pounds as a couple. So you get that money, right? So I think so it's hard to know if couples are actually into each other, or are they just there for the show, there for the money? So that's also another really interesting layer of the show as well.
Yes. And there's a very passionate fan base. So unlike Laura, I had never watched before. This is my first time watching Love Island UK ever, but I'd heard a lot about it, right? You hear people talk about it. It's very buzzy, popular, and a lot of celebs watch it. Even Barbie herself, Margot Robbie, apparently she's a big fan and even had a Love Island themed birthday party.
Wow, that's
wild,
so crazy,
right? we started watching this season together. Laura recommended. We were in Mississippi with family. We were trying to figure out what to watch. So we started watching Love Island UK. And I got hooked. Now our mom's hooked. Our brother's hooked. It's a family affair.
Everyone. So I was about 15 episodes in. And then I looped Shelby and I looped our mom in. And Shelby was, she was interested, but she wasn't like hooked. But our mom immediately was like, no, this show is bad. I don't like this show. This is boring. Why do they talk so much? I can't understand them. Like all that. So she immediately was not a fan. But then now she's hooked. Now she's obsessed. She went back to rewatch the beginning of the show. I think
it takes, if you're used to The Bachelor and like Ready to Love and all these American focused shows, it takes a little bit to get used to Love Island UK. It's very different. It's less produced. There's the British component. Like it's a very different show, but I think once you get into it, you're like, oh, this is really good. So I understand why it took her a little bit. But it took me a while too. Yeah. A very big change. It was from like, I don't like to I'm obsessed. And it was like, whoa. How did that happen?
She's hooked. I converted several fans to Love Island.
Yes, they should pay you, Laura, for being an ambassador of Love Island.
Sponsor us, Love Island. I'm gonna take my shades off. Even though we look so good and so trendy.
That's right. But I think it's time. Woo! I can see.
You can see, yay. Okay. There's 60 plus episodes, 2 months worth of content. We got to get into this.
Ooh. First off, coming in as like a Bachelor in Paradise fan, I was really into their games, their challenges. Right. They're so much more fun and creative. Lighthearted. And even though I jumped in with you a little late, I then ended up going back to see the first few episodes. And I'm like, oh my gosh, thank goodness. I needed to see the Absolute Bankers Challenge. That was so crucial.
I know, the little gold shorts. You have to see that.
I had to see that. And then Zach at the time, coupled up with Catherine, decides to kiss Molly in the challenge. Like that was a big...
Juicy. No, the challenges say a lot.
Yes.
Because they're like, oh, kiss someone. And you're like, oh, this is who the person actually likes. This is who the person's actually attracted to. It says a lot about what's happening.
Completely agree. And I also like the Raise the Heart challenge when they were dancing. And then Sammy's heart was raised the most by Jess. Okay, probably made the sign that they need to get back together. So it was interesting to see. And then, of course, the talent show. Abby's the talent of making balloon animals, not so great. Scott's talent of singing, cringy. Not so great. But I think everyone else was pretty solid.
Scott's singing was so
frisbees. Rough. I was like,
oh
impressed.
My gosh, I loved Lock-ins frisbees. That was really
very
good.
Impressed.
Yes, and I will say Whitney and Tyreek's little rap thing, that was good too. Yeah. I like their tag
Ella
team.
And Jess's dance. I thought that was fun.
That was cute. But yeah, I agree. Lock-ins frisbees were like
that was
so
the best
good.
One. I think that was
so
the best
good.
Talent.
Right. And you're like, oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, another huge moment from the season. This is when Shelby first started watching. It was so dramatic. Katie comes in as a bombshell, and her first night in, she's got to pick someone to couple up with, and she chooses Zach because tall, got a lot of swag, and Molly gets dumped from the island. I was
blown away.
We were speechless. I was on the floor. I was so shook because Molly was such a main character on the show, as we see, and I was like, "There's no way."
And everyone was into her. Mitch, Zach, Everyone wanted to do Molly.
She was very popular in the villa, so I was so shook. And of course, Casa Moore was so entertaining this season. Once again, gag, they brought Molly back. That was insane. What was your reaction when you saw Molly?
I couldn't believe it, but I also was like, there was no way they were going to have her gone. I've never seen this show before, but like you said, she was such a main character, so important that when I saw her, I was like, oh, that does make sense.
Right.
Especially since Zach had left her quickly to be with Katie and even talked to Whitney a little. And now Molly's back. What's going to happen? Like, it was really smart. I also liked how Neo stole all the girls after his performance to take them to Casa Moore.
The celebrity cameos on Love Island are so good.
They put the Bachelor franchise to shame. The fact
I
that they get
know.
Neo, Rita Ora,
Neo?
shook,
That's insane. The Bachelor has never gotten anyone. Who's the most
crazy.
famous person on The Bachelor? Ella Black?
Lauren Elena,
No.
Gotti McCreary. I don't know. I'm just saying names,
No.
but
Lauren Elena, I can't.
crazy.
Yeah. No, The Bachelor needs
Literally
to step up their
embarrassing.
game. And they tried to, for context, we watched Bachelor in Paradise last year, and they stole the Casa More idea
Of course
from
they
Love
did.
Island.
Now that I've seen it, I'm like, oh my gosh, they really did steal that.
And it was
Crazy.
executed so poorly. Like, it was bad. Like, it wasn't a good twist.
The
The
girls
Bachelor is
were
trying
not
to step
happy.
right. I don't know. I just think that The Bachelor takes itself so seriously. And I think
Let
why people
loose.
love
Have fun.
Love Island is so fun and
Yes.
carefree, and the people there are just there for a good time. But people are actually there for relationship, and you see people
Yeah.
really fall in love, and it's really cool to see. Really cool
So
to
cool
see.
to see.
Yeah, so we love Neo's cameo. That was so good. And of course, Casa More in general was insane. Ella bringing
Messy, messy,
Uzi
messy.
back. Ella bringing Uzi back from Casa More was like such a face crack. I was so shook.
Hindsight, Ella was just doing it to make Ty jealous. Like, I don't think
Yeah,
she
that's
really
kind of
cared
what it
about
was
Uzi.
giving.
I
Yeah.
kind of hindsight, I'm like, oh, I feel bad for Uzi because when she came back, saw Ty alone, she was like, oh, I just want Ty. And I was
Oh
like,
my
wow. So
gosh.
she clearly didn't care about Uzi at all.
Yeah.
And it just seems like we were in the Ty Ella show with games being played. And I understand like
Yeah.
why she didn't trust Ty, why she thought Ty would be playing around. So I'm not shocked or mad at her for doing it. Girl, you got to live your life. But I think Uzi got the short end of the stick.
I agree. And she said she basically brought Uzi back as an insurance policy. She was like, I don't trust Ty. He's probably flirting with other people. He might have chosen a new girl. I like Uzi. He's really hot. He's really nice. So I'm going to bring him back in case Ty is with someone else. Ty made is such a bad guy. He put her through so much. He has said the craziest things to her. In the last couple days in the villa, he was like cussing her out. And I was like, girl, this guy, you think this guy's gonna, do you think he's the one? They kind of talk about marriage and babies. I'm like, you think he's the one? He's going to keep on playing her, making her cry in the real
I
world
hope
with no
not.
cameras. If he acts like that with cameras, telling women to shut up, I can't.
Oh no, I hope not.
Ty is going to break Ella's heart again. Again.
Hot take or hot prediction, Laura. Hot
I don't think
prediction.
that's a hot take. I think a lot of people think that way. But
Okay.
anyways,
Other favorite
more
moments. Other favorite
highlights.
moments.
We loved the little black girl trio, Catherine, Whitney, and Ella. They were such a great group. And of course, Jess
Don't
was
forget
besties with
Jess.
them.
Black
Yeah.
girls in the dress hanging out.
Jess and the black girls, they were always together. They were a cute little squad. I like them.
Mm-hmm. I agree. It was fun seeing that. And I'd say that's a big difference again with the show. You see the girls and the guys
Right.
actually like interacting and hanging out and bonding. Whereas with the Bachelor franchise, you know that they all become friends, right? But you don't know how. You don't see that.
Yes.
So it was nice to see the friendships and see that side. Like, not just about the relationships, it was the friendships too.
Yeah, you can tell they're all really close. And that's definitely one of my favorite parts about Love Island. You see the friendships and they all actually really care about each other. Because they're spending 2 months together nonstop, 24/7, and they all
And a
become best
lot of them were
friends.
OGs, like Ella, Jess, Catherine, or like Whitney was an early bombshell. So if you
Right.
come in like
Zach,
the
yeah.
first few days, like you're gonna be there a long time. So hindsight, I'm like, oh, I see why they kept Mitch so long. They've known him from the beginning,
Right.
and they became friends.
I agree.
Also liked the movie night and the grafties, just
Oh,
peak
yeah.
messiness. So fun to see them realize, oh, this is what you've been saying behind closed doors, or oh, that's how you
Yeah.
feel. Like, it was just like stirring the pot. It was so good because it's really not very produced, the show, right? They let them talk, they let them interact,
Right.
but they do things like that, and it's
Yeah, give certain people dates, show certain clips, right?
So that's when the producing comes in, and I think they did a really great job.
Yes, I agree. I feel like the show is pretty perfectly produced. They let them do what they want and it's pretty hands off, but when they need to step in and show clips and have games, it is just messy enough to make things happen, right? It's great. And they bring Neo in and steal the girls for Casa Amor. I mean, like, come on.
What more can you ask for?
There's one of the best like moments in a reality show I've seen in a long time. Neo stealing the woman for Casa Amor. I cannot believe that happened.
And how excited they were. I loved it.
The girls were so excited. They were like, yes, Casas. They were screaming. They're like, Neo. Ah. So, and then the guys were kind of sad. That was really interesting to see. The guys were not happy. They're like, we miss the girls. Like, where'd they go?
Crazy.
All this stuff. And of course, in Bachelor in Paradise, the girls were like devastated. They're like, take me back to the men. And I'm like, what's wrong with all of you? So
it was nice to see that difference.
It was refreshing, very refreshing.
And I'd say last thing that I really liked was the finale. Because I think a lot of reality shows struggle with finales. Right. And I really liked how they had each couple give a speech to each other. Yeah. I loved they were dressed to the nines and they got cleaned up and beautified. Like, I thought it was really well done. And even though we know a lot of couples had like trouble in the past, there was growth and they were able to have such sweet moments. Like, I really liked that.
Yeah. Each couple grew a lot. And that was really nice to see.
So nice.
Yeah, the finale was great. And their outfits, I will say, I love how they dress on the show. I don't know how they have so many different outfits. They never repeat outfits. And they're there for 2 months. Every single day they need a different bikini and a different dress.
Crazy.
It's not adding up. Someone, if you know how they do that,
let us know.
Please let us know. I assume that, and they all have like one suitcase. And they only have one suitcase coming in. And I'm like, how is that possible?
No way.
Do we think the producers like have
I think they have to bring clothes for them.
They have to.
They have to.
Right?
Because if you're somewhere for 2 months and you have to have a new swimsuit every day, I mean, we do see a lot of the guys and girls exchanging clothes. So I think that could help.
That is true.
But come on. For 2 months, insane. You got to be
one
shopping
suitcase?
A little bit.
No. So they probably give them stuff. Okay. We have a lot of least favorite moments for this. Okay, let's get into it. So it's so interesting. The men on this show, it's a lot. So I feel like
tell me, Laura, tell me.
Of the men were playing games. One, we talked about Zach. He was definitely messy this season. And I see, hot commodity. He's a hot commodity. He's been in so many different couples. He's been on the most dates. He's 6'5", or I think he's 6'5". He's a big dude. He plays basketball. He has swag. I get why the girls like him. But he said some things like, well, yes, I've cheated, but I want a girl who's not going to make me cheat. And it's like, what?
Clown behavior.
That is such a clownish thing to say.
Red flag.
Such a red flag. And when Molly got dumped from the island, he wanted to make out with Katie a day later. And like, did you actually like Molly if you were like so moved on to Katie so quickly? And he was trying to defend that. He's like, well, you were gone. I just was like, I don't believe him. I don't believe him. And it's interesting how all the other couples don't see it either. They're like, oh, Molly and Zach are at least compatible. Like, we don't see them working out. They're too different, all this stuff. So it's not just us. We're all seeing it.
Everyone's a little skeptical.
Right. And Ty, I've already talked about Tyreek. We're going to talk about him more. He's like such a clown. He misses the game, apparently. He's made it clear he misses the game. He's never been in a relationship before. And it's fine. He's 24. He's not that old. That's fine to never been in a relationship. Mm-hmm. But he's using that as an excuse to be toxic. And it's like, that's not okay. That is not okay. He just was so bad to Ella the entire season. I was gonna say up until the end, but no, the end he was saying crazy things to her. So Ty was being really messy. Sammy was juggling all these women the whole time, playing with Jess. Oh my goodness. The men this season were just doing a lot. I can't really think of a girl on the show who was as messy as these guys. No. Montel kissing people in Casa, telling, I think her name was Tink, that, you and I have way more in common than me and Leah.
He played
He
himself.
was like making out with Tink and Bet. I was like, what is going on?
What was he thinking?
Ty egging Sammy and Montel to make out with everyone. It was too much. And then
Oh my
Mitch,
gosh.
messy Mitch. That's all I can say, messy Mitch.
Yeah, so a lot of men playing games.
Yeah. Lots
Basically
of
the
games.
entire cast. I know another moment that we didn't love was when
That was
Leah
crazy.
Montel and Catherine and Ellen were dumped from the island.
Shocked.
Shocking. And this was based on a fan vote. So I'm like, who are these fans voting?
I know.
Who's the
Who are the
audience
Brits voting, right?
I will say, I think the part that was the worst thing about it was that Scott and whatever that girl's name, Amber,
who was
were
19.
not in the bottom 3. Like,
it was insane.
it would be different if it was towards the end and it was like between Ty and Ella and Sammy and Jess, right? And really top couples. But the fact that Amber and Scott were there, I was like, come on.
I know. And Ella and Catherine and Leah Montel, they actually were getting on really well in
That's
the villa,
what it seemed like.
Right? And they had a great connection.
And all the Islanders were shocked.
And then Katie was like, you're not even a couple to Amber and Scott. That was really funny.
So I like watched some of the beginning episodes. Leah and Catherine had both been in the bottom when they voted for their favorite girls.
Yeah.
So like maybe that
they're just not as likable.
Like they're just not as likable. Like the audience just didn't like them as much.
Right.
So that could have been a factor. And then although both couples seem strong, spoiler alert, they're no longer together now.
Crazy.
So it's hard to tell. Like maybe people were seeing things we didn't see, or it just didn't work once the cameras were not rolling.
Right. Another least favorite moment, another ick, was Ty asking all the girls to twirl for him. That was so horrific.
I thought it was just Leah. Who else did he ask?
No, there was another girl in Casa. He asked to twirl.
Oh no, I didn't.
Yes, it happened twice. And I was like, what is wrong with this guy? Like that, and he was with Ella the whole time in the villa. So this happened while he was with Ella. Oh my gosh. He misses the game. He missed the game. Another ick, Medi kissing every girl in the challenge and the heart rate challenge. That was so weird.
Well, how did we not mention Medi as like playing games?
He was awful. He was awful.
For me, it was just the way he talked to Whitney. Like, you shouldn't talk to women that way. Stop being kind of demeaning, putting her down.
Right.
She didn't make what's her name cry, Jess cry, and then you're assuming she made her cry. Like the way he was handling that was really bad. So when he got dumped, I was like, karma. And the fact that Whitney was crying over him, like bawling, I was shocked.
That was such a yikes moment. I was like, you're crying over him?
Be bawling over this man. Like she was
for what?
Big tears.
Right, and he's not even like that cute. His personality is bad. Like he was so mean there. I don't know what she was crying over, but
right, that was a little shocking.
Yeah, that
made me question. I'm like, what's going on?
I know. Another least favorite moment, Ty knowing Ella B. That was...
You can sense when Ella heard him say that. She was like, you know her?
And apparently they like made out in the club. Like, I can't. That was so bad. Ty is just... I feel like being with Ty just seems like so many headaches. Ella went through so much this season. Ty is just... He's a lot to handle. I don't think I could ever deal with him.
So didn't love Ella B's energy when that happened. Like she came in hot.
Yeah, she did.
And you could tell she tried to reel it back a little bit, but I'm like, girl, you were coming in way too cocky. And you could tell she was ready to like start a fight, play games.
Battle of the Ellas, as she said. I
did not like that. I was like, ugh.
And the fact that they're both named Ella and Ty was into both
you couldn't produce that better. You couldn't produce that better.
I'm like, how are the producers finding the producers are working overtime?
They found Ella B, they found Uzi. They were found like, Uzi? Who can we find to possibly turn Ella's head?
And I'm like, the producers are doing their research. I don't know who, but yeah, it's insane.
Another moment I didn't love was I felt bad for Abby. Like,
me too.
The way Mitch talked to her, and then the way that Scott was like, oh, I'm not really into her anymore after kissing her. And then
her,
everyone was like, oh yeah, Abby's still into Mitch. Abby this, Abby that. You can't listen to Abby. I was
So
like,
weird.
why are we kicking this girl when she's down? Let her live.
I know, and they're like, well, we think you like Mitch. And it's like, why does it
Why does it
matter
matter?
what you think? Like, I
If
don't
I
like him
said I don't like him
anymore.
anymore, believe me.
I know, I just think they were picking on her.
Right?
But
That was
her dressing up
mean.
as a clown was not helpful. Like, girl. That was such an ick. Why did she do that? But the fact that they were like, Abby gave Mitch the ick, that was rough too. She
Like
just got
she
a really bad
just
edit. She
right.
had
She
a
got a
rough
really
time.
bad edit. I felt bad for her. Clearly, we have a lot of least favorite moments. Another moment I didn't love was when Ella and Whitney fought. I was like, no,
I
girls, we're
know.
friends. What are we fighting
Ladies.
over? You could tell Whitney felt some type of way about the game, was trying to make it
Yes.
seem like it wasn't about the smug comment.
It was
And
about the smug
but it
comment.
was about the smug comment.
Yeah.
Just say that's what it's about. And I don't think she needed to do the low blow of calling Ella the most selfish person she's ever met. Like that, I thought
That
was
was
too
mean.
much.
That was
Yeah,
mean.
it was mean. And then Whitney reminds me of someone that can kind of talk over anybody. So I don't think
Yeah.
Ella was able to handle it, you know?
No, no.
But I actually thought Whitney was wrong for how she handled that. Like, yes,
Yeah.
Ella may not always be the best friend, but it doesn't mean you call him the selfish person you ever met.
Yeah, I 100% agree. That was like, if my friend said that to me, I would not be happy. Like, that's
It
not a
was
nice thing to say.
wild.
That's
Yeah.
mean.
It's
So yeah,
mean.
I also hated that too. And it's like, ladies, why are we fighting each other? I know,
No
and
need.
they're friends, so that was rough.
Yeah. That was
So
rough.
I like Whitney, but I did not like her
That
in
was
that
not her
moment.
best moment for me. It
No,
was not her best
that
moment.
that was bad. That was bad. Another huge moment when Rita Ora, they have a little pool party, crazy, and then
So good.
Whitney and Locken are voted Britain's favorite couple.
Mm-hmm.
Loved that. However, when they saved Mitch and Ella
Laura.
B, what world are we living in?
I was so confident that Mitch and Ella B were going home. I started to get excited. I was like, great, no more Mitch. We're done with him. Messy
Mitch is
Mitch is
such a
dead.
clown.
Like, I was ready for it to be done. I was like, obviously, you're going to pick the stronger couple, right? This is about love, relationships, like Katie and
Right.
Uzi, obviously. When they said
Right.
Mitch and Ella B, I gasped. No way.
Mitch
And
has nine lives.
their reason, like, oh, Mitch and Ella B need more time. Katie and Uzi will work on the outside. I was like, BS.
I
I did
know.
not believe that. And then we learned more, like, oh, Mitch is a big character. We didn't want to see him go. I'm like, well, say that. Like, literally just say Mitch is your friend and he kept your friend. You know?
Yeah, just say that. And they did allude to that. They're like, well, Mitch is a big character in the villa. Like, what would the villa be
Yeah.
without him? It's like, just say that was the reason,
Yeah,
right?
don't make it seem like you were trying to say, oh, they need more time. We think Katie
Yeah,
and Uzi will work on the outside. Just be like, we didn't like Katie and Uzi. We
I
like
know.
Mitch better. Mitch is gonna stay.
The finale. So the producers were kind of shady for this because I think Whitney and Locken winning favorite couple, the season I watched, they never had someone win like, oh, this is, the top couple right now. And I think doing that made Whitney and Locken a target and less likable, right? So I wanted Whitney and Locken to win in the end, but Jess and Sammy ended up winning.
So remember we talked about
Crazy.
this
We did.
after Whitney and Locken were crowned favorite couple. We were like, who do we think could win? And I was like, I could see Jess and Sammy and Ella and Ty as like dark horses to sneak in there because they both have had the most growth.
Yeah.
Ella and Ty not as much fun, but like Jess and Sammy are fun and
Right.
likable.
Yeah.
And I remember I said that I was like, I could see them maybe swooping in. Did I think it
Yeah.
would happen? No, I was shocked. But I do have some theories on why they won.
Okay, go for it.
One, I think Whitney and Locken peaked too soon and lost momentum.
Yes.
To your point, I think that's interesting. The fact that the producers put a target on their back. Like, I didn't think of it in that way. But I thought as like, oh, maybe everyone thought Whitney and Locken would win. So why vote for them?
Right.
Let me vote for my
Right.
second favorite couple, which is probably Jess and Sammy. I also think the audience loves Jess and didn't matter who she was with, they were going to vote for her.
Right.
Like, if there was an award, you know how some shows do like fan favorite, I think Jess probably
Right.
would have won. If you just go based on fan favorite, Jess won this award because of that.
For sure.
I also think Sammy grew a lot. Ty grew a lot as well.
Yeah.
But I think that Sammy seemed, at least again at the end, to really care about Jess, and they were like the
Right.
fun white couple, right? That's what they were.
True. Yes.
Also, I think Ella and Ty could have had a chance, since they were literally there from the beginning, and the fans voted for them at the beginning to be together, and they were still together. Like, that's awesome. But they fought too much, and they're literally fought on the last day. Laura, I was like, are they not thinking about winning?
They're
literally
clowns.
fighting on
they're
the
literally
last
clowns.
day. Come on.
And
Don't
Ty would always
that.
say like, oh, I'm glad the audience likes my girl. He'd be like, oh, well, the audience likes us. Like, he would always say stuff like that. I'm like, this guy, does he actually like Ella? Because I felt like he was playing a game the whole time. He did the grand gesture at the end. He like had them sit on the cushions like near the heart at the entrance. I'm like, this guy's a clown for many reasons. But I'm just like, he talks about winning all the time. He does things to make himself, want to win. And then he cusses her out on the last day. Like, F you. I'm like, what? Like, I have no words. I have no words.
It was a lot. And I honestly think that sunk them from any chance. Like, apparently they released the official voting, and Ty and Ella were very close with Whit and Locken for second. Okay. So I think they had momentum to possibly win. They just did it to themselves. My last theory on why Jess and Sammy won is potentially Whitney and Locken and Ella and Ty split the diverse Black vote.
Interesting.
Because I know people that were team Ella and Ty. I know people that were team Whitney and Locken. And I feel like if there was like one clear Black diverse couple to vote for, we could have all put our votes towards them. Because if you combine those votes, easy winning. But it was split.
That's very true. No, these are good theories. These are very good theories.
I've been thinking about Love Island UK. Yes. Probably too much.
No, that's good. This is what the people sign up for, to listen, to hear what we have to say. But I agree with what you're saying, but I also think that Whitney and Locken winning favorite couple when the Rita Ora came, I think that put a target on their back, and that made them less likable, and people thought they were smug, et cetera, et cetera. And I just think that, they're already a favorite couple, like, we don't need to vote for them. I think that caused them not to win. I was shocked when they didn't win. I was rooting for them. Okay, so those are our least favorite moments, or icks of the season. We had a lot of icks. Now we added another segment to this episode called Craziest Quotes, because the show is all about
new segment,
conversations and talking, and
I've got a text.
Oh my gosh. I've got a text. Yeah. Okay, Shelby, give me the first quote.
Why'd you make Jess cry? First of all, Medi, were you in the conversation? Did you see what happened? Did you ask me, hey, what just went on? No, you just assumed me, the Black girl Whitney, made the white girl Jess cry.
That was so gross.
You can't do that.
Literally just everything Medi said to Whitney, period. He was insinuating that she was aggressive. And there was another moment when Medi was giving a speech on why I'd like to couple up with this girl because, and it's like, and then she was laughing during the speech, and he was like, why are you laughing?
That's literally when I started watching with you. And I was like, why is this guy like being
why
so
are you
weird?
Laughing? Why are you laughing during my speech? And she was like, I laughed and I'm nervous. And he was like, that wasn't okay. And I was like, he is unwell.
Rude.
He's so mean.
So mean.
He's like I feel like they picked the most stereotypical, like, mean French person.
For the show.
So everything Medi said, crazy quotes. Tyreek, as we talked about,
has a lot.
Was wild this season. When he said, I missed the game to Ella's face, I was done.
Crazy. He said, shame that was our last kiss, when he was talking with Ella B. Tried to make it seem like he didn't say that, or it's not.
It was sarcastic.
Yeah.
And it's like, what other way was Ella B supposed to take that? And she was like,
so bad.
Can y'all see how I thought that was flirty? How was that not flirty? I felt like
he's just such a natural flirt. I feel like he thinks he's not, and I'm like, dude, like, that's not okay.
No, that was so flirty. Him telling several girls to shut up men, bad, horrific, horrible.
He had some tough moments at the end. he seemed to grow a little bit.
But then he would just do toxic things 5 minutes later, being like,
So
oh, I found
bad.
my woman. I love her. And then telling her, cussing her out. I'm like, this guy, he has serious issues.
Really tough. Okay, Laura. So we talked about Tyreek and his clownish behavior, but I have to throw in Mitch. I have to throw in Mitch
Messy
when
Mitch.
he was accepting his grafty and said a comment like, I'm the king, who are you messing with, or whatever. I was like, Mitch, relax. The fact that you've been here since the beginning, is this going to your head? The fact that Ella and Abby were fighting over you, is this going to your head? Who said you were the king?
Yeah.
Like Mitch was
His
probably my least
ego.
favorite. I feel like you really don't like Ty. Mitch might be for me. Like, I really did not like his energy by the end. It was too much.
Yeah, Mitch, as we talked about, the men this season were on something. I do agree, Mitch was really bad. I'm the king. I don't know what world he's living in, but he is
It's a world full of queens, okay?
far from a king. A jester, you could say.
Yeah, if anything, he's the clown. Yeah, he did
Definitely a
stand up as his
clown.
talent, so that's
I
what
know,
he
and
should
the
be
stand-up
doing.
was bad. No one was
So
laughing.
bad.
And when he left, he was like, boys, gather on the fire pit. I was like, who
Laura,
does he think he
I'm like,
is?
he literally thinks he's the star of the show. And I'm like, you're not the star. I don't know what world you're living
No.
in.
I'm like, he's delusional. Literally
Delusional.
And I did love when Scott called him a knobhead. That was hilarious.
So good. Much deserved to Mitch.
And Mitch was so bothered by that.
So is that like a really bad term in Britain or something? Because Mitch's reaction was crazy.
It's like, how dare you? I was
He
like,
got
oh my
so
gosh.
mad. I
Yeah,
didn't
he
really
got really
understand
mad.
that. I'm like, Mitch, you've been dishing it out
Triggered.
to everyone, but you got triggered by knobhead? Okay.
Oh my gosh. And Mitch calling Ella fake at the end.
Laura, I'm telling
it
you.
was just, it was horrible. Mitch is such a clown.
Like multiple personalities or something going on, because he would say that she's fake and then be like, oh no, everything's fine. I'm so happy we're exclusive.
We made it exclusive. I'm like, he's unwell.
Make it make sense.
The actions are not adding up.
No.
Not at all. And he would be like, oh, I like Abby, but I want to share a bed with Ella. Abby and I have more in common. I'm not attracted to Ella. Like
I can't see it working outside with Ella, but it was just too much.
It's not adding up. Mitch
not adding up.
was definitely the one who made the least amount of sense the whole season.
Agreed.
Other categories.
Yes.
Who or what did you love to hate this season?
I first have to say Maya Jama, the host. You're probably like,
Maya
what?
Jama.
But she is so beautiful. She's stunning.
Oh my goodness.
Like, I was blown away. I was like, who's this woman?
I know.
Like, I was blown away by her beauty. But that's kind of all it was. Like, it was beautiful. She kind of struggled during live segments. And
she's not the best host.
When she gave lines, and I was like, girl, maybe you're just the pretty face. And I hate to say that, but
yikes.
It was really during the live finale, messing up the cues, saying, oh, we're going to see Whitney and Lockin's video. And then it's Sammy and Jess's video. Like,
yeah. I forgot about that.
Laura,
that was so bad.
It was tough. So I have to say Maya Jama first.
Maya Jama. Gorgeous, but she struggled. Okay, for context, this was her first season as the host. They've hopped around.
Yes. Oh, I didn't know.
They had a host for a good amount of time, but then for the past few seasons, they had a new host, and now Maya Jama, this is her first time as the host.
That could be why.
But still, she was not great. She's gorgeous. She's a Somalian, I think, beauty queen, pageant queen.
She looks that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Gorgeous. But I agree, not the best host.
No. Okay. What about you? Who did you love to hate?
Yeah, I had Ella here because she's someone I really was rooting for. She's gorgeous. She, a Black queen. We love to see it. And she seemed to have a lot of confidence. But I just think Ty really just kind of destroyed her confidence. I feel like she sacrificed so much of who she was for her. Ty made her cry at least 5 or 6 times in the whole show. And like no one, like, why is she knows how Ty is. she continually gave him passes
I
through all these horrible
know.
things to her. And I'm just like, girl, you do not need to put up with this. She could have
She didn't.
she can have any man she
She was
wants.
so gorgeous. She could be with anyone.
Any man. You had Uzi, who is literally one of the most attractive people I've ever seen in my life, all over her. And she still chose Ty. I'm just clearly there is something chemical between them, but I'm like, she doesn't deserve all the bad treatment that Ty has put her way. Ty has been so horrible to her. And I just think they're so not compatible. I think they have really good chemistry, but I just don't think they're ever going to work together as a couple. I think they're going to break up within a few months. That's my take. Who else do you have for love to hate?
Sammy. I felt like he was a fun guy, but clearly very immature. Like, I thought he was the goofball. Like, he did a headstand for his talent. Like, he was making people laugh. I thought he was funny. Like, I genuinely enjoyed seeing him on my screen. But he acted like a 22-year-old, you know?
He was definitely giving 22. Exactly. He was giving very immature. He was making out with all these girls in Casa, even though he claimed that Jess was the one. I'm just like, what is wrong with this man? I just think he made some really bad decisions. He didn't treat Jess very well.
No.
He made Jess cry quite a bit.
I know.
Oh my gosh, during the grafties, the point where like Jess just like turned her head to the side, she's like crying.
It was really bad. Poor thing.
That shot, that close up on her face, and she's like trying not to cry, was like so bad. Sammy played her for 80% of the season. And it's interesting to see how they won, because in the last like couple weeks they were doing really well.
They got it together.
So they ended very strong.
Yes.
But the entire season, Sammy was doing just very dirty. So I'm still surprised that people forgave all of the actions and they end up winning. But I agree. Sammy's he's a little bit more hate for me, but he's a fun guy, very entertaining. So I get that.
And I know you also weren't the biggest Molly and Zach fans.
It's interesting because on the show, I thought they were fine, but it's interesting seeing how the other couples viewed them, how they didn't think they were compatible. A lot of people think Molly is an actress. A lot of people, like fans, clearly do not like Molly and Zach. They ended up in the least compatible several times. They were rooted they voted the fourth favorite couple. They came in last. So I think that the fans don't like them. So I personally don't. That's why they're in love to hate. I don't strongly dislike them, but it's interesting that in the show they were kind of shown as a super strong couple, but then the fans have such a negative reaction towards them. And a little context, a friend of mine told me that Molly is a producer's daughter.
I can't.
So there's a little nepotism here. And that's one of
the reasons probably why they brought her back.
They brought her back for Casa Amor. So that's what people were saying. She was brought back because she's producer's daughter. Apparently she grew up on the set. She had been there a long time. So a lot of fans were like, we don't like Molly. We don't trust her. She's just there for the nepotism. And yeah, a lot of people think she's an actor. I mean, she's technically like, she's a film student, but a lot of people think she was acting.
Well, I will say, now that I've seen the beginning, she was so bubbly and loud and like giving musical theater vibes at the beginning. Then she goes home after Casa and comes back a different person. And I'm like, is this a new performance? Did you see yourself on TV and now you're doing a different acting role?
Yikes.
Like that, I did notice that. I was like, she went, and then, because all of a sudden her and Zach never talked. You didn't know what was going on with them. She was very quiet, very shy all of a sudden. But in the beginning, she was bouncing off the walls with energy.
She snapped into a new character.
She did.
She was like, this is my scene.
Action
scene. Yikes. She's an actress. She's a musical theater student. Oop. Okay. Well, on to our hate to hate. I've said it once, I'll say it again. Tyreek was probably my least favorite guy in the season. He was just so toxic, very triggering. The things he said and did to Ella, to me, are pretty unforgivable. But I know that you have a different take.
Yes.
But yes, I think we can both agree that Mehdi was so bad.
Yeah, did not like Mehdi and did not like Messy Mitch.
Yeah, Messy Mitch was rough.
In my hate to hate. I will say, yes, was Mitch good for TV? Yes. So I will give him that.
Definitely.
But he was too messy for his own good.
I know, the entire season. And I remember someone, maybe it was Whitney, but in the beginning, someone was like, Messy Mitch. And at first I was like, I don't think he's that messy, but he lived up to his name. It got messier.
The Islanders saw it more than we did in the beginning, I think.
Right.
And then we finally saw, like, oh,
I know, and
that's
it's
how Mitch moves.
right. And another interesting part of the show was when the guys got so mad at Mitch for breaking bro code. Wasn't that so interesting?
Yeah.
They're like, dude, like we don't do that. We don't talk about it. And then the guys also got mad when Lock-In like shared something. It's so interesting. Like these guys can treat their woman so horribly and say horrible things about their women. But once they do something against the guys,
and
they're
the
like,
world.
dude, that's not okay. We gotta talk to him. And it's like, what? I don't know. They take bro code very seriously.
They do.
Which I thought was very interesting. Yeah.
Okay.
Messy Mitch.
Okay, enough of the messiness. On to love to love. I think the narrator was good.
Yeah, Ian Searling.
Funny, lighthearted, jabs there and there. You know, like I thought he did a good job.
Yes, one of my favorite moments was when Molly and Zach were on their Barbie date, and he was like, "Oh, we're having a date inspired by the biggest movie of the summer, Oppenheimer." And
it's funny. He was so good. It was really good. I agree. That was a good line.
That stood out to me.
Good line.
So I like Ian Searling. He's a good narrator. And it's so interesting. Similar to how our mom felt at first, I thought he was annoying and it was like distracting. But now she was like, "Oh, the narrator is so funny. I love him." And that's how I also kind of feel. He's now endearing. It
took a little bit. I know you were not big fans of Ella and Ty, but by the end, I was here for the growth and the black love. I wanted them to win. Shame on me.
Yikes.
But they just have so much chemistry. They like are just attached to the hip. I agree it was toxic and they probably need to either go to therapy or grow a little bit.
Yeah.
But their speeches were so sweet. That won me over. And I think they clearly feel something, right? There's clearly something there. Whereas I feel like Whitney and Lock-In lacked chemistry, you know? Like I felt like Ella and Ty, same with Jess and Sammy, you could see it. You could feel it. Like the passion, the energy was there.
Yeah. No, I don't deny that Ella and Tyreek have a strong connection. I think that's what makes them so toxic because they like are obsessed with each other, but they can't they don't communicate well. They curse each other out. Tyreek plays too many games. He flirts with every like woman who walks past him. Like Tyreek is just going to be the worst boyfriend in the world. I hope that he changes. But he's like, "Oh, I'm a changed man." But then he cusses her out in the last day. It's just like, I cannot stand Tyreek. Ella deserves better. But I think this is not the black love we deserve. This is not the black love story I want to see. I'm not here for the toxic black love. But that's how I feel. Oh my goodness. But okay, so I love to love.
You love to love.
I do love to love Whitney and Lock-In. People don't need to be like all over each other, making out and like hugging the entire time to have chemistry. Yeah. And it's interesting because that's what they would say a lot. They're like, well, Whitney and Lock-In, they don't show PDA. And it's like, does PDA correlate to a good, healthy relationship? That's what they all made it seem like. And I'm like,
yes.
I think that's fair. Right? No, they're not attached at the hip, but they're mature. They have normal conversations. They don't have crazy decorations being like, "Will you be my girlfriend?" Like they don't involve everyone in their relationship. I just think they have a normal, healthy, mature romance happening. And they're not smothering each other, they're not over the top. And I think on Love Island, over the top translate to we have the best connection, whereas I disagree.
I think that's fair. I did think though it was interesting to see how Whitney and Medi had more PDA than Whitney and Lock-In. I do think it was interesting that it's not like Whitney doesn't like PDA because she and Medi had it. So that's why I was like, what's going on with Lock-In? But I agree. I don't think you have to have PDA to have a strong relationship, but it was strange to me just given what we had seen with Medi.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I also love to love the accents. I've got a text. Every time they said that, I was just
So
rolling
good.
on
And
the
their
floor.
reactions, like, oh my
They're
gosh,
like,
a text.
they
A
heard
text,
the
a
ping
text.
sound. They're like, a text? A text? Whose phone? A text? My accent. The only thing I can say well in a British accent is I've got a text. That's the only
You
thing I
mimic
can
Jess
say.
really well. And I thought Jess had great energy. Like,
Oh,
I
I
like Jess.
love, yes. Also love to love Jess. She has such a fun energy. She has such a
Mm-hmm.
great presence on the show. Talk about, a character in the villa. And I
Mm-hmm.
love her voice. She's like, thank you.
That
That's
sounded good.
I know to say thank you,
That sounded
like
good.
Jess. Sometimes on this show, it doesn't matter who a person is with. Like if they're one of the favorite characters, people are gonna like them regardless of who they're with. So I think that's kind of what happened with Jess. Sammy's a clown. I think most people recognize that Sammy's immature, but people just really like Jess. So I think they wanted her to win, right?
I agree. Red flag, green flag, one, two,
Let's
three.
do it.
Is it a red flag, Laura, to be a couple with too much drama and have strong chemistry?
AK Ty and Ella. I think that you will probably have a different answer, but I think I'm like, drama is not worth it. Constantly arguing with someone, fighting, the mess. I am not here for that. But some people would be like, you have to, strong chemistry is important. But I'm like, nothing is worth just constant drama. So no, it's a red flag. 100% a red flag. Ty and Ella, I think, are such a toxic couple together. I'm not here for it. So, red flag.
Shockingly, I'm gonna agree with you. Like even though I
What?
wanted
I
them
thought
to
you loved
win,
Black Love and Ty and Ella. What?
I do, but that doesn't mean that all the drama is not a red flag. You know what I'm saying?
But you wanted them to
I
win.
did. I stand by that.
The math is not mathing. It's not adding up. So it's
I
a red
did.
flag. The relationship's a red flag, but you want them to win? And you're
Yes.
rooting for them? Okay.
Yes. I think they could overcome it. Do I
Interesting.
think they have issues to work through? Yes. But I think they're a beautiful couple and I think they can work through their problems.
Is it a green flag to be a couple with no drama and no chemistry?
I
So Whitney
think
and
on
Lachlan.
the outside it could be. You could say, "Oh yeah, that's great. We have no drama." But I want to say yes, it could be a green flag. But just because you have no drama outwardly doesn't mean there aren't things going on, if that makes
Right.
sense.
No,
Like
that's true.
technically, Zach and Molly did not have a lot of drama, but clearly
They had issues.
they had issues. So I think it could seem like a front, like, oh, everything's great. But just because you're not outwardly yelling and screaming, you could have drama, you know?
Yeah, that makes
So I
sense.
think shades of green. I think it could be pretending to be green and actually be red, or it could be green, like Whitney and Lachlan.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. Okay, on to our segment, Shelby's Celebrity Sightings.
Yes.
Tell me about some reality people you have seen in the flesh.
Yes. So I haven't seen actual Love Island UK stars, but I've seen some other stars. So shockingly, I've seen people from the Bachelor franchise, like Matt James and his winner girlfriend, Rachel Kirkconnell.
Our favorites.
Woo! So fun.
Yeah.
We also both saw recently Christina, I think Schumann, who was on The Bachelor and Bachelor Paradise. We saw her
Yeah,
when we
the
were eating
Russian. Yes.
at a restaurant.
We saw her at
And
Nobu.
yes.
Classic.
And then I also saw Nick from Perfect Match. He
In the
was like
circle,
in the
right?
circle, yes. He was like the kind of nerdy guy that not a lot of people wanted. I saw him crossing the street.
Classic. Shelby, she's a celebrity
That's
magnet.
it. A walking celebrity magnet, my special talent.
Oh,
Overall,
Love Island UK
how are
season
we
10.
feeling?
Your first season of Love Island, is it a wait or a watch?
A watch. Big watch. I'm a fan. I'm hooked
Oh,
now.
snap.
It could be season 10, which is really good, which I
Yeah,
feel like I've been hearing,
this season
but
was
I'm
really
into
good.
it. I think it's better than the last few seasons of the Bachelor franchise.
Oh, for
It's
sure.
more authentic, genuine, has better games, nicer people, it feels less produced. Check, 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 check.
Yes, definitely. I agree. This season was really good. I saw season 5, which was like high quality, rated as the best season. I think this season was definitely up there. Very chaotic, very messy.
Yeah.
But we did get some really great couples out of it.
Yes.
And like you said, this doesn't feel forced. The Bachelor and some of these other shows feel so forced and so produced over the top, but it feels like Love Island feels really natural. So that's something I
Yeah.
really like about it. And we all really like about it. Yeah. So
Completely agree.
now this is your first season. How do we feel about The Bachelor and other romance shows?
I'm concerned for the future. Here's the thing. I have not
Troubled?
watched the last 2 seasons of The Bachelor, so I'm already starting to tune it out. I
Right.
had
You're
Bachelor in
less into it.
Paradise last year as one of my least favorite things from the year. So it's already not trending well, it's trending downward for me. So I'm concerned about the future of the franchise, especially when shows like Love Island UK are doing really well and are very buzzy. Even Love is
Right.
Blind doing really well and very buzzy.
Oh, yeah.
So if I was the Bachelor franchise, I'd be trying to figure out how can we be better. I think the
Right.
Golden Bachelor is a good step, but like how
Yes.
can we be better to pierce the culture, actually have authentic connections, because it's not working.
I agree. The Bachelor franchise, it has less and less people have been watching. And I
Mm-hmm.
think shows like Love Island and Love is Blind are really successful. And I think The Bachelor used to be the only show on TV that people were watching for romance. But now so many people are not watching it anymore. So, like you
Mm-hmm.
said, The Golden Bachelor, we're excited about that. And that's a great segue to our What to Watch segment. We're
Yes.
ready for more authentic connections because The Bachelor rarely works out. Everyone's breaking up these days. And as we saw, oh my gosh, Caitlin Bristowe and Jason Tartick. Do you hear about this? They broke up.
I did hear about it.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm not surprised. Bachelor Nation, no one can stay together. It's
No
awful.
one can stay together. So I think The Bachelor is having a crisis. I think this season, The Bachelorette with Charity right now, I think is pretty good. But it's hard to know if people are actually going to stay together.
I agree. So when thinking about what to watch, of course, any post-show breakups, hookups, rekindlings, there is a possible rekindling, right, Laura?
Yes. So there's been some swirling rumors about Catherine and Scott. Catherine broke up with Scott after bringing Ellen back from Casa Amor, but Catherine and Ellen are no longer together. So there's some spiciness between the two of them from the reunion that people are talking about. So let's see.
We'll see.
Love Island UK season 11. We know there's going to be another season. They're going to do this every year.
They have to.
So we're excited.
So good.
You know, we could watch the US version. I'm personally not running to watch that because I heard that it's not.
Things.
I heard it's not good.
I'd probably watch a rerun of a past season before watching the US one. So we'll see.
We'll see.
And I did hear there might be rumors of a Love Island UK All Stars, like bringing back like all the Katies of the world. And as someone who hasn't seen the other seasons, I might not really resonate, but I would watch.
I would definitely
more Love Island. I am ready.
I know that'd be
I'm
really
a fan
good.
now.
And of course, Shelby will probably watch more reruns of old seasons because they're fun. They're fun to watch. Okay, Shelby, who do you think is going to last? Which couple's lasting?
I think Ty and Ella.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if I see Whitney and Lachlan lasting that long. I think Jess and Sammy, I don't know. Even though they won, I don't know if I trust Sammy fully.
But you trust Ty?
They have so much energy and passion, or maybe I'm just willing it to happen.
Yes, I think in your brain. Okay, no, that's interesting. I'm gonna say Whitney and Lachlan. I think they have a mature connection, and I think they can work through.
I hope so.
Yes.
Fingers crossed.
So those are our predictions. I hope you enjoyed our deep dive into Love Island UK season 10
big episode.
A really great season. Shelby's converted. She's a fan of Love Island. So please continue to support our podcast. Follow us on all social medias at Sisters Who Watch, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, X, whatever it's called these days.
Follow us, like, subscribe, download,
and give us 5 stars
and
review wherever you
appreciate y'all.
Thank you. Bye.